I used to believe loyalty meant something, that if you showed up early, stayed late, kept your head down, and poured your heart into the work, people would notice. That family, especially, would notice. I was wrong. It was a Tuesday morning when everything changed. I remember the hum of the fluorescent lights above the front desk, the faint scent of lilies from the fresh flowers on the counter, my mother's favorite. I had just refilled the candy bowl and was double-checking the conference room schedule when the glass doors opened. My father stepped out, the board trailing behind him. "Mia," he said, voice flat and sharp like he was chewing nails. "Conference, room A, now." I froze. It wasn't a request. It wasn't even a full sentence. Just an order. I glanced at the calendar. No meeting scheduled with me, no warning. The boardroom was full. Every executive was seated, including my older brother, Mark, who smirked at me before looking away. I took the only empty chair, far end of the table, opposite my father. He didn't wait. "We've been reviewing company structure," he said, standing like he was speaking to strangers instead of his daughter. "It's time for hard decisions." Then straight to me. "Your position has been reevaluated." I blinked. "I don't understand." "You're a receptionist," he said. "You greet clients, answer phones. That's not a strategic role. We need professionals running this place. Family or not, I don't care." For a second, even the air in the room stopped moving. Then someone chuckled, then another. I couldn't tell who. My vision blurred. "They're laughing at me," I realized. "I've been here for 7 years," I said quietly. My voice trembled. "I've done everything you've ever asked. I know every client, every system, every process. I trained half the staff sitting at this table." "That's not the point," he snapped. "You're not qualified for anything beyond the front desk. That's where we started you. And that's where it ends." He didn't flinch. "You'll be leaving by the end of the week. HR has your exit paperwork." I couldn't breathe. The words hit before my mind could even process them. Leaving. Exit paperwork. I looked around the table. No one met my eyes. Not even Mark. Especially not Mark. And just like that, my father turned his back to me and kept speaking to the room, like I wasn't even there. Next topic. Client escalation protocols. I sat there trying to breathe without shaking. Then I stood up, quietly, slowly. My chair barely made a sound. Just as I reached the door, those same glass doors opened. Again. A man in a navy suit stepped inside like he owned the air. Mr. Howard, CEO of Garnett & Rowe, our largest client. A man who never came to our office without an appointment. A man my father had spent years trying to impress. He walked straight to the boardroom, ignoring every executive in the room. "Where is Mia?" he asked. No one answered. "Is she in the lobby?" I turned, stunned. His face lit up. "There you are." He took my hand. "I've been calling your direct line all morning. Wanted to thank you in person for fixing the delivery issue last week. You saved us 6 figures." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. "Mr. Howard," turned to the room, addressing everyone now. "I told your father last month. This company runs on relationships. And this woman," he said, pointing to me, "is the only reason we're still doing business with you." Silence. No one laughed now. I looked at my father. His face was pale. Mark looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. And in that silence, something clicked. I'd spent years trying to prove I was valuable, but maybe I didn't need to prove anything at all. Not to him, not anymore. I didn't say a word as Mr. Howard left. Just a nod, a kind smile, a firm handshake. And then he was gone. Still, no one in the room moved. No one apologized. Not even my father. He stared at the table like it might offer him a script, something to fix what had just unraveled. But there was nothing. So I walked out, back to the reception desk. Maybe, For the last time. I sat down. Same chair I'd used for 7 years. I stared at my reflection in the black screen of my idle computer monitor. Behind me, the boardroom voices rose again, my father's sharp tone, Mark's defensive sputtering. I didn't need to hear the details, I already knew. They were talking about me. By the end of the day, the whole office knew. The whispers came fast. A coworker who usually ignored me offered me coffee. A junior analyst, Leah, nervously asked if what she'd heard was true. I didn't answer. People don't ask questions like that unless they already know the answer. That evening, I left at exactly 5 vows. No overtime, no last-minute email checks. Just me, walking into the cool autumn air with a sting in my chest. I didn't go home. I drove to the edge of the city, parked outside the old coffee shop I used to escape to when things got hard. The lot was nearly empty. I sat in silence, letting the windows fog, trying to make sense of it all. What had I done wrong? Had I made myself too available? Too useful? Had they ever really seen me at all? A knock on my window startled me. It was Leah. She held 2 coffee cups. "I took a chance," she said. "Thought maybe you'd be here. How did you know? You talk about this place, especially when things get hard." I stepped out and took the cup. We leaned against my car in silence. Then she spoke. "Everyone's talking about what Mr. Howard said today. They're not laughing anymore." I nodded. "Too late for that." "No," she said. "It's not for you." She handed me a napkin. On it, 9 names, people from sales, tech, even HR. "They want to help," she said. "You've held this place together for years. They remember." I folded the napkin and tucked it into my pocket. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling and made a decision. They may have taken my title, but they hadn't taken my value. And I wasn't walking away with my head down. Not yet. Not without making sure they all knew exactly who they had tried to erase. By Wednesday, I noticed the shift. Small things, at first. Conversations paused when I walked by. Longer glances. A nod from the CFO, Mr. Lambert. Someone who used to pretend I didn't exist. I was still the receptionist, but I had stopped pretending. No more forced smiles. No more laughing at bad jokes. No more running errands for meetings I wasn't invited to. I did my job, efficiently, calmly, like someone who knew something no one else did because I did. Mr. Howard's visit cracked something open. Not just in my father, in the company. Clients started calling, not to talk to the executives, to talk to me. Dubai, Chicago, New York, one after the other. "Mia, please." Mia knows how to handle this. Mia gets things done. Apparently, I was no longer just the person who greeted them. I was the person they trusted. By Thursday, Mark cornered me near the break room. "You need to stop making this a thing," he muttered. I sipped my tea. "Making what a thing?" He lowered his voice. "Clients going around the chain. People gossiping. Dad's furious. Maybe he should have read the room before firing me in front of the board. He made a decision. We're restructuring. That's business." "No," I said calmly. "That's ego." He scoffed and walked off. But his steps were stiff, quick. He wasn't angry. He was afraid. Later that afternoon, I got a call from Mr. Howard's office. His assistant, Mara, sounded hesitant. "He'd like to invite you to the quarterly leadership dinner," she said. "This Friday. Just senior contacts." I hesitated. "I'm not senior anything." She laughed. "You are to him." That night, I sat with the invitation in my hands, heart racing. This wasn't just a dinner. It was a message. Mr. Howard wanted everyone to know I mattered. I thought about telling someone, even drafted a message to my father. Then I deleted it. Let him find out the way I had, in a room full of people watching. Friday came fast. At 7 p.m., I walked into a glass-walled restaurant overlooking the bay. Black dress, hair pinned, confidence worn like armor. Mr. Howard greeted me with warmth. "I meant what I said," he told me. "You've been the most consistent, most competent person we've dealt with. If they can't see it, that's not your failure, it's theirs." I swallowed hard. "Thank you." He leaned in. Off the record. "How much do you want to stay?" I didn't answer right away, because honestly, I didn't know. Part of me wanted to build something new, but part of me wanted to be there when the old walls finally cracked. "I'm not done yet," I said. He nodded. "Good, because I might need your help." That night, driving home, headlights washing across the road, I felt it. The shift. I wasn't just reacting anymore, I was preparing. By Monday, I wasn't just the receptionist anymore, not to the staff, not to the clients, and definitely not to my father. Because here's the thing about power. Once people sense you have it, they either try to align with you or prepare to take it from you. And I was ready for both. That week, I could feel the shifts settling into place. Subtle at first, strategic, permanent. By Friday, a formal email went out. Mark Langston will be stepping down from his role as vice president, effective immediately. No explanation, no farewell speech, no statement from my father, just a quiet, strategic exit. Rumor was Mark had been given a choice, resign quietly or face an internal investigation. Given the paper trail I had provided, it wasn't a difficult decision to make. But I didn't feel triumphant when I read that email. I felt steady. That's the only word I can use to describe it, because this was never about revenge. It was about clarity. The following Monday, I was invited to a roundtable discussion with Mr. Howard and other key partners. It was the kind of meeting I hadn't known existed. The kind where real decisions were made, long before memos were sent or departments were briefed. The kind I had once been told was above my pay grade. But now, I was in the room. Not because of politics, because of proof. After the meeting, I returned to my office and found an envelope on my desk. No name, just 3 words. For Mia. I knew the handwriting instantly. My father's. I hesitated before opening it. Inside was a handwritten note. No company letterhead. No formatting. Just this. "Mia, you've always had more strength than I knew how to handle. I see that now. You didn't just earn your place, you defended it. Even when I made it impossible. That kind of resilience. I didn't teach you that. You taught it to yourself. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know, I'm proud of you. Dad." I read it 3 times before setting it down. It didn't undo what had happened. It didn't erase the years, but it was something, a beginning, a quiet acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, he was ready to change too. That night, I stayed late. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. I walked the halls of a company I had once called a second home, past the lobby, the break room, the desk where I'd quietly kept everything running for years, without recognition, without title, without voice. And I realized something important. We don't just inherit legacies, we redefine them. My father built this company on discipline and drive, but I was helping rebuild it with something just as vital, dignity. That was the real transformation. A week later, I launched a mentorship program for junior staff, especially women and entry-level employees who were too often overlooked. We called it Frontline to Future. It gave people room to grow, to be seen before they had to fight for it. And for the first time, I wasn't just surviving the system. I was changing it. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I was proud. Not because I'd finally been given power, but because I'd learned I didn't need anyone's permission to claim it. In the end, it wasn't the name on the door or the seat at the table that mattered most. It was the voice I had reclaimed, and the courage I had found to use it. That, I realized, was the legacy I wanted to leave, not just for me, but for everyone who has ever been told they were just anything.